Welcome back to Weems Motor Co. Today we are back at it on the Born Free 13 build. Stick around. Alright guys, so you've seen that we picked up the 1947 South Bend 13-inch lathe. But I'm still really in a tough place when it comes to milling parts. And so luckily I have a great friend. He's helped me out before by letting me use his equipment. And today, that's what we're doing. We're running over to visit Eric Allard. You might know him from F&A Custom Cycles. Done some amazing bikes, been seen all over the world. Really cool stuff, but I call him a good friend, and he is letting me use his mill today. You hear all that rattling noise? Yeah, right here in the seat next to me. Yeah, that's a box full of goodies. It's a lot of parts that I've been collecting and waiting to get the opportunity to get over to his shop. And today's that day. Let's go mill some super old Triumph parts. All right, so here we are. Made it out to Eric's shop, F&A Custom Cycles. You guys probably recognize that barn back there behind me because that's where we picked up Rusty from. And it's kind of making a big full circle because Rusty is the engine that we are using, as you've seen in the little video from last week, for the Born Free 13 build. So we're out here at Eric's place. I love it. It's like the country of Florida, if you were to say. Trees, chickens, cows. It's kind of like the way I grew up, but super cool place. Always like coming out here, a little bit peaceful. But we're gonna cause some chaos in the shop today. We're gonna sling some shavings, we're gonna mill some parts, we're gonna get these things ready for Born Free coming up. We have just about 5 months to finish up this build, and there is a ton of work to do. So hopefully you enjoy. No, I mean, a TR6 is a Triumph, and a 6T is a Triumph, but not a TR. And if you were to just go off the serial number, the 5-digit number, it would say that it'd be a 57. But on the inside of the cases, they actually have cast dates, and it's 56, which is actually kind of cool because my dad was born in 56. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just machine that flat.
Yeah.
Then I got a buddy of mine, actually in my neighborhood. He's got a CNC router, and I'm gonna have him route the Triumph logo just inside, so the bike won't have any serial numbers, whatever. Well, it's like whatever at this point. It's just a show bike.
Yeah.
So you might be asking yourself, why is he milling on a brand new magneto? Well, this magneto is set up for Harley Davidson, and we're putting it on a Triumph. So there's a little bit of modifications that needs to get knocked out. That's what we're doing. And just like that, done.
Alright guys, sorry about the battery. I should have remembered to bring batteries. I'll do better next time. So we're back here at Weems Motor Co. Got some of those parts machined out, and we need to do a little bit more work to get some of those things onto the bike. So for the rest of this video, we're going to wrap up doing the intake. So this is a little adapter I'm going to be making from this solid billet of aluminum to mount the fuel injector to the supercharger. Obviously this bike, there's nothing that's just bolt on. Everything has to be modified in some crazy sort of way. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to drill some holes, we're going to tap some holes, and we're going to get this block of aluminum into a place where I can mount it onto the supercharger, and we can mount the mechanical fuel injector onto it. Alright guys, so here we are at the drill press. Just want to give you guys a couple insights, couple pointers of how I do a lot of this stuff without having an actual mill. So I've taken the block of billet aluminum, I've put some machinist die on there, and I've kind of scribed out what exactly I needed using all precision marks, and I went ahead and pinged or punched little spots where I need to drill holes. Now these holes go all the way through the block, so I just need to make sure that everything is lined up perfectly on those spots. And something I use is a little indicator. It's a little point, and I take this, and with my drill press I line up perfectly on each one of those spots so that I know that my drill bit is going to go through in the exact spot that I need it to go through. So it's just a little cheat, something I do. Gets me lined up, gets me ready to go. I can punch through those holes. That's what we're gonna do. Let's knock it out. And voila, just like that, you have your 4 holes that we're going to be using to mount to the supercharger. This is the supercharger face. The next 2 holes that we're going to have to do, those are what's called blind holes, and they're going to need to be tapped so that the intake coming off of the mechanical fuel injector will be able to bolt directly in. And we'll have to do some milling and some different things, but I tell you what, having that vise, you don't see this on normal drill presses. This is an upgrade. It makes it for a lot more precision work. We can get down really close, get down within the thousandths. And even on this drill press, I have a digital readout that tells me the depth that we're going to have to go to drill and tap these 2 blind holes. So that's the next step of the process. Let's drill some more holes. So with these holes, we're going to be drilling these out and tapping them with a 1/4-20 tap. Like we said, it's going to be a blind hole. We only need to go in a 1/2 inch, and when we're drilling that, we want to make sure that we refer to the tap and drill chart. Now, if you look at a tap and drill chart, it says if you're going to tap a hole with a 1/4-20 thread, that you need to drill it with a number 7 drill bit, which is approximately 0.207 inches in diameter. That leaves enough room for those threads to apply themselves, and when you put a bolt in there, it grips and everything is nice and tight. Now, when tapping a hole, you know, you have your regular taps, which is more of a pointed style tap. But when you're doing a blind hole, you need a tap that's going to bottom out into the bottom of your hole. And what I've done is I've taken a standard tap
and I've ground the tip of it flat so that once it reaches to the bottom, it bottoms out. Really important that you don't over torque when you're tapping things, because if that tap breaks off in that hole, you're gonna have a hard time getting it out. So the process I'm gonna do with this, I'm gonna drill the hole, keep everything in the same alignment, drill the hole, and then I'm gonna tap it with the starter tap, the one with the point. And then after that, I will use the bottoming tap to bottom out into the bottom of the hole. Pretty easy process. Make sure you use some sort of lubrication. I like to use WD-40 when I'm using tapping aluminum. It's just a little bit softer process. So let's get it done. So once that I have the drill started and I know that the flush level has come up, I'm going to zero out my dial gauge so that I know when I reach that 1/2 inch mark that I'm going for. And the last thing I like to do when I tap a hole is to make sure that that nice top surface is nice and clean. So we use a little chamfer bit and it just takes off that little burr right at the very top. And last thing to do, just take a bolt, run it in there, make sure those threads feel nice and good. They're not too tight, there's no junk inside of there, and we're good to go. Awesome. And just like that, we got 2 tapped holes. Good to go. Alright, now that we got all of our holes drilled to mount it to the supercharger, and we got our holes drilled and tapped to mount the intake for, this is being the intake, a little cool Webco angled 45-degree intakes that was made for bikes that only have 1 carburetor. You could put these adapters on and make it a 2 carburetor bike. So I'm taking one of these, putting it on here so it comes out in this cool little 45-degree angle, and then we're going to be attaching this. Now this is a Wall Phillips mechanical fuel injector. Now these were only made for about 2 or 3 years, and they were made in England specifically for race application, and that's why we're putting it on this bike, is because we're very much race inspired on this with the supercharger, with the alcohol fuel. And I just thought, how cool would it be to have one of these old fuel injectors, not electric fuel injected, mechanically fuel injected, on this bike, because you never see these. I've only seen pictures of these from ads and magazines from like the early 60s. And I've never actually seen one on a bike in person. So we're going to throw one on this so other people can see it on a bike. And man, it's going to be a fun time tuning this thing, I'm sure. But we'll get it figured out. So we got everything ready to put our intake on there. We're going to do a test fit really quick to see, make sure all those bolt holes line up and everything like that. And see what kind of appearance this thing is going to have on the Born Free 13 build. Well, I think that looks pretty sweet. We're gonna have to do obviously some metal shaping to make it have a more aesthetic appearance, but that's a trade secret, so I'm not gonna save that for another video. I'm not gonna show you guys. You have to see it when it gets done. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video today. If you're new around here, man, jump down, hit that subscribe button. If you really enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up, turn those notifications on,
and let everyone know what's going on right here at Weems Motor Co. Peace.